7, 8. I play Sarah Johnson, and obviously it's I'm continuing the character from the first Save Last Dance.
What we wanted to do was legitimately say, well, what will the next challenge be in Sarah's life? Where is she going to go? What is she going to face?
The audience comes in to a sequel with very clear expectations and memories of the character. And with Sarah, when we met her, she was very vulnerable and sort of a kid. And now when we're meeting her again, it's also about that evolution of you know, her arc and who she is.
Sarah Johnson gets into Juilliard. She's there for ballet. She wants to become a prima ballerina. That's her dream, and it's just what she's working towards. She meets Miles, and she gets sucked into that whole hip-hop world again.
Wow. It's a whole other level.
Miles eventually opens her eyes up to a new life, to her life, eventually.
What hip-hop really is can be summed up in 3 simple words. I am here.
He was a classical composer, went to Juilliard, dropped out to start to pursue his own vision of where he sees himself. Miles was just so colorful in that sense, you know what I mean? To have so much background, to be cultured, yet, you know, he wanted to aspire for something different. He wanted to aspire to be raw, yet he was classically trained and technically trained.
The character of Miles, I made someone who collects sounds. That what he does is he has an archive, 8,000 tapes of sounds he's been collecting since he was a kid.
Miles personified hip-hop. Miles personified the inventiveness and the ability to be a bit more freer in his skin than what was the norm at Juilliard.
It's also a very fun relationship because they're so different.
Unlike the first film, which dealt a lot with the interracial relationship between them, this time out, she's, you know, dating an African-American, and it's not really a part of the movie. It's just kind of the background for the movie.
Hi. Who's this?
It's not about a race thing, a white-black thing. It's more like in comes the new girl with Miles, and who is she? So I want to know.
With Candy, it was much more about challenging Sarah's credibility to be there and also challenging her as a leader. Candy was that element that was going to question, you know, are we keeping it real? Is this really hip hop? And, you know, is this really what we need to be doing?
And what is that?
It felt more natural that way.
You're not here to be natural. You're here to learn ballet.
I think for the part of Monique, what we really wanted was someone who carried herself with authority and someone who carried herself with power.
She's my hero. This is who I want to be in the beginning of the movie.
We knew that we needed a surrogate mother for Sarah. We knew that we'd probably get the most dramatic tension from having Sarah interact with another woman who's a bit older and who she respects, and have that tension generate there.
In the course of her coming-of-age story, Sarah is pulled in 2 directions between the ballet and the hip-hop. She thinks she has to make a choice, and in fact, becoming who she is her ability to combine the 2 and to become a person who can synthesize 2 different things, the ballet and the hip-hop, appreciate both, and to create something new.
On action, she's gonna lead.
There were a couple things about David that made him perfect for the job. One is his experience in the theater and his ability to work with musicals, which is key. Like being able to make sure that the musical numbers advance the drama in the film, and they don't just stand alone as just sort of dance for the sake of dance.
David is an amazing director. He really knows how to work with actors. He knows exactly what he wants.
He's always pretty much been consistent on understanding that Miles kind of is me, you know what I mean? It hasn't been a stretch. So he's kind of like known me off camera and seen me on camera and know. So he's just kind of kept me true to myself, is what I could say.
He had some very definite ideas about how he wanted to represent hip-hop. And we had a lot of conversations about that, what aspects of it he felt were important and that we felt were important to bring to the piece.
It's funny, because most of these kids, they don't even realize that there's a history there, man. A shadow behind every move. Every step they make is into a footprint bigger than their own.
Kind of like ballet.
I was struck by the intersection of these two different worlds, the world of ballet and the world of hip-hop, and how one is very ordered and clean and historically informed by its history, and then by hip-hop as being a newer expression, chaos and the energy of that.
Hip-hop it's free. It's experience, explore, try out, see what happens.
We needed someone who was going to be a really, really hard worker to play the part of Sarah. We needed someone who was versatile, and we were hoping to find someone who really had legitimate credibility as a dancer.
Isabella, grew up in Poland and came to New York at 15 or 16 to pursue dance. So the story was also very similar to her own story.
Ballet was my dream. I was determined to become a prima ballerina, best I could ever be. And after a couple of years, my eyes opened a little bit to the world.
What it allowed me to do was film the movie without having to double the her dancing a lot, which freed me up as a filmmaker to show wide shots, to show her dancing the ballet, and to be able to stay in one take and watch her dance.
Isabella is amazing. I mean, she's so charming. She's beautiful. From our chemistry read together, it was like, if she's doing the movie, I want to do the movie. The magic was there instantly, and it makes it for an interesting journey.
I was really hoping that me and you could maybe.
We could what?
Get a cannoli or something.
He's so cute. Columbus is so cute. It really didn't hurt.
Columbus is a fantastic actor, too, incredibly talented, multi-talented.
I'm a musician. That was my first love. Piano, drums, everything. And I produce. So when I read the script, I was like, wow, this is the perfect role right now.
Was that you humming just now?
It's beatboxing. It's humming 2.0. My first day, my first scene straight off the plane was with her, and I was nervous a little bit because this is someone who's been around, you know what I mean? And she made me feel comfortable, and she's just on it, and it was a delight.
The great thing about Jacqueline is the sort of grace that she carries herself with, the natural charm and charisma, and the power she has just in the way she interacts with the camera.
How do you know when you're performing a movement perfectly? You feel perfect. You are the movement.
Directing a dance movie in 21 days, that was a big challenge. We don't just have one kind of dance. We have an entire cadre of ballet dancers. Then we have an entire cadre of hip-hop dancers. And I demanded the best on both sides of that coin. So we had to create a certain kind of movement that didn't really exist.
Dave, the director, was giving us the freedom to do anything we wanted. There is no wrong way of creating a fusion. Fusion is whatever it is. You guys make it.
It's not the first time. There are a lot of failed, in my opinion, a lot of failed attempts out there to fuse the two of them.
It was tough, like me coming from the whole street background and, Roberto coming from the whole technical background. It was totally two different worlds. And, sometimes we didn't agree on stuff, sometimes we did. So, it was tough, like, going through that whole process on creating this whole fusion.
With such strong choreography of Tone and Rich, I just could not really stick entirely with pure classical ballet. I had to use the same vocabulary, but make it stronger and funkier. Basically, you take ballet into a more exaggerated way of performing with that kind of rhythm.
For the finale itself, it took us around 2 weeks worth of rehearsals to get it on point, because there's a lot of people in the finale.
The ending piece reflects on years and years of history of dance, dating back to African dancing, all the way until hip-hop dancing. All has the same root. Isabella, being from the technical world and me being from the street world, it's like it took a while to adjust her to have the swagger and the confidence of a hip-hop dancer.
For this movie, I had to train and really get down and dirty and this whole ballet persona is so rooted down deep in me that it's so hard to get out of at night, you know, and I kick my leg and my toes point, you know? And I'm like, no, I have to flex my feet. That's hip hop, I'm doing hip hop.
She's a hard worker. Like, I know she's on set every day doing her lines, but when she's even on set and they say cut, my girl is around the corner and you see her doing her moves. Like, she is so dedicated.
I felt like I was in a twilight zone. I would just wake up in the middle of the night, repeating my moves and going like, oh. And I realized, I'm like, wait, no, I'm supposed to sleep now. No, I can relax and I'm going to sleep.
Giselle, the big scene that she performs really at a climactic moment in the movie is the resurrection scene. And I think that as a character who is leaving one phase of her life and going into the next phase, it was really thematically interesting.
Doing the Giselle ballet stuff was so rewarding, so incredible. Being on this beautiful stage with dancers and costumes and lights and actual audience, and that was really incredible.
Giselle was stunning. Was stunning not only in the content, the talent, and Isabella, it's just the way it was shot. There is at some point that the steady moves around them, and Dave having a ballet background when he was younger, his musicality, to use the camera was dancing with them.
You know, when I see this film, I would love to experience this great rush of energy of wanting to dance, wanting to be risky, you know, because dance nowadays is really risky.
Every aspect of the art is beautiful, whether it being ballet, whether it being music, whether it being hip hop, which gets diminished as an art a lot of times. But I want people to really understand the meaning of hip hop and what hip hop is.
I'm fascinated by inter-arts projects, music, dance, you know, anything that expands storytelling. And I think that this movie does that, and it's been a joy to do.
We were really gratified that people took away from the original Save the Last Dance a very positive and uplifting message about being true to yourself and about the fact that you can be true to yourself no matter where you are. And sometimes when you're someplace where you don't expect to be, you might find yourself on an even greater level. I think that theme continued to interest us for this film.